Welcome back to Global News Morning. A pleasure to have you join us. Some new regulations regarding third units on residential properties. Some fascinating subject matter here. Please allow me to introduce our good friend Matt Lee to discuss this further. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing great. I've seen in my neighborhood, it looks like a little bunkhouse. It looks like a separate mini house on someone's lot, separate from
Yeah.
the main house. This is a new thing we're
Yeah.
going to start seeing a lot of around the area.
Yeah. So they actually came out through the Ontario Municipal Board and talked about this where they're trying to uh, help with the housing crisis, and this is kind of where they're going with this. And, a couple of years ago, they started allowing secondary suites. And I think starting there will help us get to this third unit. So the secondary suites, you were allowed to use up to 40% of your home, whether it was on the main floor and upper floor, or if it was main floor and basement. You just had to meet the regulations. And it's all on the City of Kingston website.
Okay.
So you can go in and you can type into the search bar secondary suites, and there's a whole booklet there where you a certain height requirement, windows, entrance, parking, all of these pieces. And they will fall into this third unit as well.
And now they've made an extension of that where you can have a third unit separate from the house, a mini
Yeah.
bunkhouse on the property in the backyard.
Yeah. So the main thing that we want to look at is that the third unit has to be an accessory building. Has to be. So it cannot be in the existing house as a third unit. So if you have a detached garage that meets the set requirements, then you can convert that. You could build a new building and have that done as well. Um, the main criteria is the setbacks to start, and the second one is it can only be up to this 10% of the size of the lot.
Mm.
So if you have a 50-foot frontage and you have 100 feet in depth, that's 5,000 square feet, which means that you are allowed to have a 500 square foot detached accessory building, and that would classify for a third unit.
So you got to have a big backyard to begin with in order to have one of these buildings in there, and it has to be a fully functioning home, but they're regarded as mini homes.
Yeah, they kind of look like a tiny home. They really do. I mean, basically, you're dealing with something that's 4 to 600 square feet. Generally, there's going to be different ranges. Um, you have to run all of this through the city. You have to have plans. You have to have drawings. You have to have permits. Like everything has to go through on the regular building code. Um, and basically, what you do is you take your lot and you discuss it with the city because there are different places in the city that have restrictions for sewer capacity, or there is
Mm.
high water marks and different things that you have to go and talk to them about. So if you're thinking about doing the third unit on your property or the accessory building as an apartment, the best thing to do is to go and speak to the city about it because then they can walk you through and say, yes, we will allow this. You fall into the right area, and and then you just keep going with your steps.
So the first thing that comes to mind is a big shed. It's not as easy as putting in a bedroom and a little kitchenette in a big shed. There are regulations.
No, there's going to be a full regulations. Like you're building a mini home. Like there's going to be, you're going to have follow the building code. You're going to have sewer and water coming into the building. You're going to have electrical coming into the building. So you have to do all of these steps, and you have to have all of these pieces kind of put together. So it's not going to be something that's inexpensive. Another thing that we should mention too is that they've made it so that it is the maximum height is 4.6 meters, which means that it's one story.
Right.
So, like, if you have a garage and you say, "Oh, I'm going to put an apartment above the garage as an accessory building," you need to speak to the city about that. That's probably going to fall under a minor variance where you're going to have to do a separate application, and that's something that you have to speak to them with. This is we're talking about is a single story, 10% lot coverage building.
I could see a lot of advantages to this on so many levels.
If you have an in-law suite in the basement that a family member is living in, but you wanted to generate more income, the investor is going to be looking at this as well. But we've seen prices go up. We've seen interest rates go up. I think that this is going to help people, and if they want to um, kind of alleviate a little bit of stress from their mortgage payments, I mean, these are things that can help. Plus, it's going to help the housing crisis that we're kind of going through, where people are having a hard time finding places.
Hmm.
So I think that it's all a really good thing, and a step in the right direction.
Matt, we thank you so much. Take care, be well, and we'll talk to you soon. Awesome job.
Thank you. Take care.
Real estate tips brought to you by Matt Lee of Royal LePage.